Hello, everyone. We are back for another summer video. Top 15 Hawks prospects. Me and Nolan have gotten together. We will be comparing and contrasting our lists, and we'll see what we've come together with here.
Finally, we got some prospect talk during the summer.
I know y'all been asking for it. I know y'all love your prospect talk. All you piggies, oink, oink.
Oink.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
and we have come together and unleashed our promise of prospect talk. So let's just get right into it, man. I'm excited for this.
Should we start with some honorable mentions?
Absolutely. Actually, I think we should get some honorable mentions. I had quite a bit, honestly. That's the thing. I mean, 15. Getting this Hawks pool down to 15 is actually a pretty tough task because there's just so much talent to go around. But I'd say the main honorable mentions for me, Jack Pridham. Really wanted to have him on my list. He was like the final cut. You gotta get John Mustard in there. You got to at least say his name. Say his name. John Mustard for sure. Mustard. Yeah. Absolutely. And then Nathan Bem. I'll leave it at those three. I could name more names, but we'd be here all day. So
I also had Mustard on my honorable mentions list. I had Pridham on my honorable mentions list as well. I think him not going to Boston College hurts his stock a little bit. One guy that Justin had failed to mention was Martin Misiak going into Rockford this year. I think he can really expound on what he did in the playoffs. He had 2 hat tricks in the OHL playoffs.
He did. I did notice that.
Yeah.
Didn't he and Lardis have hat tricks in the same day or something? That was crazy. I remember that. Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. He's like a skilled player.
Yeah. All right, so should we start with your 15th ranked prospect?
That's right, yeah. I say, let's go from 15 to 1. We'll build up, right? Yeah. So number 15 for me, I have AJ Spellacy. The Blackhawks love their football players, and Spellacy, he's not the only one, but he's the OG. And again, not sure how much points he's going to put up at the NHL level, but I do think he's going to be an NHL player, and I just think with his size and his raw tools and intangibles that if he could be a solid bottom 6 player, I think that'd be a nice little asset for the Hawks for sure.
Yeah. For sure. My 15th ranked prospect, I have Nathan Bem, the third round draft pick from this year. I think he could have gone as high as second round. Honestly, Kyle Davidson really found a steal in that over a point per game in his draft year in the WHL. I just think his ability to both shoot and to use his body very well. He's a very bigger guy. Not really as big as some of the other prospects that we'll get into on this list, but big, yes. But I think he uses his power forward ability with scoring very well.
Nice. I respect that. All right. Number 14, I believe I had Ethan Del Mastro at 14.
Yes, I also have him at 14.
He's played 26 games in the NHL, but he's still Calder eligible because he played 24 last year. You have to play more than 25. Pretty much any player is still considered a rookie is eligible for this list. I don't know if I mentioned that, but mentioned it now.
Yes.
I like Del Mastro. I don't love him. I think you're probably higher than him than me. But no, solid defenseman. I think just the thing with Del Mastro is in most pools, he probably looked more impressive. It's just the Hawks have so many good young defensemen, so it's kind of easy to forget about a guy like that. But no, I like Del Mastro. He's good with the breakout passes, decent on both ends of the ice. Again, not sure how much points he's going to put up at the NHL level, but that's not really his game. Just a solid kind of defensive defenseman and could be a solid third pair guy. Again, so many players, so I'm not sure if he's going to be around for a long haul. It wouldn't surprise if he wasn't, but he's definitely a piece there for sure. That'll be part of the equation.
Yeah, I also have Del Mastro at 14. I think from what I saw last year with Del Mastro, I think he made a lot of good strides. Honestly, he looks like a breakout candidate for me this year. Just in the fact that I see a lot of similarities between him and Alex Vlasic.
Okay. Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, I know, but it's similarities. It's not, he's not going to become Alex Vlasic.
Yeah.
You'd hope so, obviously.
That'd be nice. To be fair, we didn't expect Vlasic necessarily to be as good as he's been, so you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think Del Mastro, just using his 6'4" frame to his advantage, and he's been around the system for a long time. I really hope he makes the opening night roster as that third left pairing defenseman, depending upon what happens with Allen and what happens with Kaiser. But I think Del Mastro will surprise a lot of people this year.
I respect that. I think I could see why Kaiser having a Vlasic season, but he's not considered a prospect anymore. He's played too many games. But
we got to get him a contract first.
Absolutely. Well, that too. Yeah, I believe it was his birthday recently too. So hopefully we'll get him a contract soon. And number 13, another similar type of player. He's played a lot of games in the NHL, but is still considered a rookie. Colin Dock, who, by the way, played 25 games last year, so he's like barely still considered a rookie. But obviously the younger brother of a Blackhawks legend, Kirby Dock, unfortunately suffers from a lot of the same problems as his brother in terms of it seems like he's always injured. But when he is healthy in the lineup, I like his game. Just kind of a meat and bones type of player. Smart player, has got good intangibles, hockey IQ, things like that.
Net.
So yes, exactly. He always gets in the dirty areas, right in the trenches, as I like to say. He's going to be an NHL player. Again, not a stud or anything. He doesn't have like necessarily, I'd say, like that type of potential as his brother does. But I think he's definitely a regular. He's going to be a regular in this league, I think.
So for number 13 for me, I've got the football player Mason West.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got Mason West at 13. I think Mason West, there's so much of a high ceiling that comes with him. I don't think we've seen enough yet, but I think he makes my top 15 list just because of the way he was able to. I think it's kind of cool. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I think it's kind of cool that he gets to go back and plays football for his senior season. It's a controversial take, but I'm a football guy at heart. But I think for me, especially Mason West was one of the most intriguing prospects in the 25 draft. And I'm very excited that he's in our system now so we could see him grow. I know it's going to be like Sam Renzel, where he's going to take 3 or 4 years to develop. But I think just with that size, with that skill set, I think big things are coming for Mason West.
All right. I like that. Yeah. I'll save my talk with him a little later when I have him. But yeah, no, definitely excited for him. And number 12, I believe I have Ryan Green. It's funny for me. Like, there's nothing really spectacular about Ryan Green, but I don't really see any major weaknesses in his game. He seems like a very complete player, kind of does it all, both ends of the ice, very responsible. Another center, we got quite a few of them. And obviously played 2 games at the end of the year last year. Didn't look out of place, I'd say. I think he's a guy who would definitely compete for a spot in the lineup this year. Maybe not day one. Like, I don't know if he's going to start the year. He's probably going to get some time with ice hogs out as soon, but we're definitely going to see him on the Hawks at some point in the season. And no, like his game. Got nothing spectacular or anything, but doesn't really make any mistakes out there. Just a solid player on all ends of the ice. So
yeah. I'll get more into Ryan Green later. But at number 12, I have AJ Spellacy, the other football guy.
You got Spellacy ahead of West.
Yeah, I got Spellacy ahead of West just because of what Spellacy's already done at Windsor. I mean, he nearly made the team out of camp last year with how good his preseason was. He almost got that 9-game loan. I believe he was the last player to get cut.
That says a lot. He was really impressive his preseason play, which again, preseason, but no, he looked really good out there. And I already talked about Spellacy, but yeah, like for much the same reasons. I think just a super intriguing player.
I think he's got a really high motor. He's got a really high IQ, and I think that with Spellacy, he could play a very good 200-foot game.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree. Yes, sir. And number 11, I believe, Drew Comesso is on my list.
All right.
Just missed the top 10, which I felt a bit bad about. I feel like he probably should be in there. But it's funny. I feel like Comesso, people have sort of forgotten about him a little bit. Maybe just with the arrival of Spencer Knight, because I think Comesso was probably the number 1 guy in line there for the future, and now he's probably the number 2, depending on where you consider Soderblom and Guyon. But no, really big fan of Drew Comesso. I thought he made some really solid strides last year at Rockford, especially towards the end of the year. Like, he was on quite a run there. I'd say pretty much since he got sent back down for he had that low stint with the Hawks. I'm sure we'll see him play at least a few games in the NHL this year. He's the 3rd goalie in the tandem there. And I guess 4th if you include Lauren Brossois, but I don't. I consider him the 3rd.
Who?
Exactly, right. No, but nobody cares. Nobody knows. So, but no, big fan of Comesso. Definitely a backup option for the future for the Blackhawks for sure. Maybe even starter, but I think Spencer Knight is the starter, but fringe starter.
Hopefully he can turn into a 1B at some point.
Yeah, 1A, 1B tandem, exactly.
I'll get into him, really shortly about Comesso. But at number 11, I have Vaclav Nestrasil, 1st-round pick from the Hawks this season. I always love the hometown story. Even though he's not from Chicago, he grew up a Chicago Blackhawks fan his entire life. I love seeing his dad interact with a lot of Hawks Twitter. I think it's awesome. But I think seeing him in the USHL this season, especially towards the end during the playoffs, he was a real big playoff performer for Muskegon in the USHL. And I mean, I'm really excited to see him. He's going to UMass this year. It was reported that he would have gone next year, but he's actually moved up a year, and now he's going this year. So I think it's going to be really cool to see him play in the NCAA this year.
Very nice. I like that.
UMass Amherst. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have him coming up shortly. I'll expand on him when I get there.
Oh.
Yes. But before we get to him, at number 10, I have CHR legend Marek Van Acker, which honestly, he probably should be higher than that, to be honest. I think some Hawks fans have kind of written this guy off, and I think they're going to regret it. Obviously, a bit of a tough year last year. Again, it wasn't all fault of his own. He was obviously recovering from injuries and the surgery and all that. But when he was playing, close to a point per game, and he just finished up with Canada, the World Junior Summer Showcase. And seemed like every game he was scoring a goal or doing something. A lot of scouts really impressed with his game. So I know Scott Wheeler had some solid things to say about him as a power forward. So really impressed with Van Acker, and hopefully he could be that type of player for the Hawks for sure. Yeah.
So number 10 on my list, I've got who Justin had at 11. I have Drew Commesso, the Rockford starting goaltender. Me personally, I don't think he should start in Rockford this year. I think he should be the backup. I think he should have been the backup over Soderblom. I just think me personally, just seeing the strides that Commesso has taken the last 2 years in Rockford, especially, over the last 5 years since he's been drafted, I thought he was a standout at Boston University. I thought he was very good there. He played in the Olympics, the last Olympics that was there in China. He actually had a shutout in his first game against China, his first ever start, which I think is just such a cool stat. And then last year with Rockford, I saw in the playoffs, he was just on fire in that Chicago Wolves series. I think he can take, serious strides this year, and I would not be surprised if next season he goes in as the backup. I think he should have been the backup this season.
I respect that.
Over Soderblom, yeah.
Wow. Soderblom obviously had quite an improved season this past year, and obviously just extended, so we'll see what he can do in that 2-year deal. But I imagine Commesso is going to give him a fight price.
I found this kind of interesting. The lone Stan Bowman prospect in my top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of it.
There we go.
I don't have it. Well, to be frank, I say that I don't have any Stan Bowman prospects in my top 10, but most of them, you've either graduated or aren't here because they didn't make it because it's Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
Yes. Number 9 in my list, you already talked about him, Vaclav Nestrasel. 6'6", man. What an absolute dog. I love how Davidson just looked at our prospect pool and basically just solved the last thing that was missing, which was a lot of size, a lot of grit, a lot of tenacity, and that is Vaclav Nestrasel. Probably one of the most raw, intriguing players in this draft, just like Mason West, I'd say, for a lot of similar reasons. I know he came on strong a lot towards the second half of the year as well, had a really good playoffs as well. His production really ramped up. I want to say he had like 13 points at 14 games the postseason, the USHL. Really solid season, so especially towards the second half. So really excited for him, like you just said, committed to UMass. And don't know if he's going to be like a star player or anything. I don't think that's really his but I think just being a really solid piece in the middle six, even bottom six, definitely could see him there.
Yeah, I think a role player, maybe he chips in on the power play at some point.
Yeah, I think he's got some production in him, but I don't know if that's 100% his game, but he definitely has shades of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
At my number 9, I had Ryan Green, the Boston University guy. 2022 second round pick, I believe. Yes. So I think he rose my list because of what he did at Boston University. He was nearly point per game. He was a captain at Boston University, which I, value a lot, being, especially with a team right now that doesn't have a captain.
True.
Well, Foligno, but we don't know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah, he's a placeholder captain,
right? He's a placeholder captain.
Yeah.
There's, so many guys that we can get to on this list. Guys like Bedard Nazar, Vlasic, obviously, who could all be...
I think it's going to be one of
letters.
It's going to be Betsy's C for the symbolism, and then Vlasic and Nazar will have the A's.
Yeah,
I think.
But I think there could be so many guys on this list who could
be leaders. Like I don't think you have to have a letter to be a leader. I think Green's a perfect example.
Yeah,
of that,
exactly.
For sure.
So I think he plays a very good 200-foot game. He sees the ice pretty well, especially as a playmaker. And I just think with his track record coming from BU, I'm really excited to see what he holds in Rockford's middle six this year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
This Sabres hat is just like constricting my head. I guess that's what I get for wearing a Buffalo Sabres hat. I have no idea why I'm wearing this, but anyway. Because I guess maybe because the Sabres are just in a never-ending pool of prospects. So maybe that wasn't a good idea to wear this hat that I'm just kidding. Yeah. That won't be the case with us. They're all going to make it, and we're definitely not going to trade them all away, right? Hopefully not, right? Yeah. Don't do what Bowman did, Davidson. Number 8 for me, Mason West. I wanted to I placed him in Nestrasel in kind of the same tier. I was kind of figuring out who to put ahead of who. And
Yeah.
Nestor Sol, I'd say right now is the better player, but I just think West just has like such a high ceiling for me.
Sky high up.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do, right? And obviously he's still kind of, he's playing a lot of football right now, which I get it. Like, I understand, like, going back for his senior season. I'm looking forward to when he has his whole focus on hockeys. I think that's going to benefit a lot of his game there. But yeah, 6'6", just like Nestor Sol, and absolute beast, definitely a very intriguing prospect. So again, I think at least if one of these guys hit of West and Nestor Sol, that'd be awesome for the Hawks. Just to have a guy like that up there in the lineup who's that size, that weight, who can just really play some Florida Panthers style hockey.
Yeah.
I think especially in the playoffs, it'd be huge for us. So if they both hit, that'd be even better. But hopefully at least one of them. Yeah.
So I'll go into my number 8. My number 8 is CHR legend Merrick Van Acker, my guy from Delhi.
Yeah.
I think. You look at what his draft year gave. It gave a little bit of a glimpse. Obviously, last year he was coming off of a shoulder surgery. So hopefully he rebounds from that and becomes the player that he was in his draft year. He had 85 points in 66 games as a 17-year-old in the OHL, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And especially playing a 200-foot style of game, can chip in on the power play, can chip in on the penalty kill, and obviously chip in exactly.
You got the reference.
And I just think that absolutely Merrick Van Acker is such a wild card, honestly, in this, because he's shown all the skill in the world, and he's shown, as you alluded to earlier with the World Junior Summer Showcase, that he really was a factor for Canada in those games.
Was.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally a tweet, I don't remember who it was from, but it's like, I noticed, I think it may have been Stephen Ellis. I noticed Van Acker, and there was another player, and like that was about it. Or maybe I'm thinking of Boisvert, actually.
We'll get to him in a
I
little
mixed
bit.
those two up, of course. But to be fair, they're pretty similar style players in a way, and we'll get to them later. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So who do you have at number 7?
I wanted to have this guy up higher, man. I really did. Roman Kantsarov.
Yeah, the Roman Candle.
Honestly, like, he might be my favorite prospect in this list. Big fan of Kantsarov. Definitely not because he follows me or anything, or you. But no, this guy just seems really excited to be a Blackhawk. I sincerely wish that his KHL deal was up, because I think this guy could play in the NHL this season. Like, I think he's that
100%
good.
agree with
He
that.
put up numbers in the KHL last season, points per game wise, that were reminiscent of Ivan Demidov, who gets talked about a lot for fair reasons. Obviously, very talented prospect for the Canadians, who I definitely didn't want in 2024. We don't got to talk about that. But no, I think Kantsarov could be him on Timu for us. Big fan of his game, and score. He could pass the puck really well. His highlights, he's always scoring these ridiculous goals. Like, I'll wake up and I'll see his highlights from the latest KHL game. I wish I could find a way to watch him live, but he's always got something on display. So yeah, big fan of him, and gotta wait another year, but 26, 27, maybe even end of this year. Looking forward to seeing him in Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll get into Kantsarov in a little bit, but my number 7 on this list, I have Oliver Moore. Oliver Moore, the 2-time gold medal winning Team USA in the World
Damn
Juniors.
right. What's a kilometer, baby?
Rah! Yeah, absolutely. I think Oliver Moore, just with his game-breaking speed, I mean, you're going to look at this in 5 years and say, yeah, Oliver Moore is one of the fastest skaters in the NHL. He's one of the fastest skaters I've ever seen. I really see a lot of Brandon Saad in him. Honestly, I just see, he can chip in all 3 facets of the game, even strength, power play, and penalty kill. And I saw a lot of playmaking ability last year. I don't know if he'll start with the...
He had like 5 assists in 9 games, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He may have been 4 and 9.
He was 4 and 9.
Then Renzel was 5 and 9.
Yeah. But I think, definitely could see him potentially being a Bedard winger, just with the speed.
That would be great for him, right? Because like that's kind of what Bedsy's missing as of this recording. A little bit more speed, and I think Paragallic more with him and his playmaking, man, that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely awesome.
That'd be absolute cinema, as I would say.
Absolute cinema.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir,
absolutely.
baby.
So I think with his, 200-foot game, just with the speed, I think he's a very intriguing factor. I can see him, playing all up and down the lineup, just like Brandon Saad.
I like it.
Yeah.
Saad. Yeah, that's a good comp.
Yeah.
I like that. Number 6 for me, I believe, is Nick Lardis. Another guy I wanted to have higher, but I just had to pump the brakes a little bit. Obviously had that ridiculous 70-goal season in junior hockey. Yes, he's a 19-year-old in OHL, but, I mean, you can't ignore stats like that, especially when he's setting records that haven't been seen in years. I believe the most goals in the OHL since John Tavares in like 07, so that was 18 years ago. So really impressive season for him. Again, that is kind of his whole game, his goal scorer. Like, you're not going to see him, do much in the defensive zone or anything, which he's not going to need to. We have a lot of prospects who can do that. Obviously, his shot, probably the best shot, I'd say, in this pool, I would say. Even maybe give Bedard a run for his money there.
Yeah.
Probably going to be a power play merchant. That's okay. I know there are concerns of his size. I don't tweak about that in 2025. I think players like Cole Caulfield and DeBrincat have worked out just fine.
Yeah.
I see no reason why he can't either. So, again, is it going to be a star in the NHL? We'll see, but I see no reason if his shot and his offensive abilities and guys like Betsy feeding him the power play, why it can't be a high 20, low 30, maybe even flirting a 40 goal scorer. Dare I say, yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually the first one that we agree upon. I have Nick Lourdes at number 6
Is this
as
the
well.
first one we've had the same placement?
This is the first one.
Wow. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think Nick Lourdes, to me, between the regular season and the playoffs last year, had over 80 goals for Brantford, which is just absolutely
crazy.
unheard of.
I think he had his playoffs cut short because of his injury. Man,
Yeah.
imagine if he was healthy, they probably would have won it all.
Yeah, for sure. I think Brantford really suffered by not having Nick Lourdes. He was such a crucial piece to that team just because of how good he was. I mean, how much of an offensive threat. Obviously, you look at overage in the OHL, but I think Nick Lourdes, you can't really overlook 80 goals in the regular season, the playoffs, as you alluded to earlier. Most since John Tavares in the regular season. So I think, just Nick Lourdes, he's such a dynamic threat in the offensive zone. And as you said earlier, we don't have to worry about the defensive zone with him.
No.
It'd be great if he picked up that part, but we're not really worried about that as long as he can stay on that right flank of the power play. Or
Nick Lourdes, you have one job, put the puck in the net.
Yeah, exactly.
That is your job, shoot the puck.
Exactly.
When the fans are shouting shoot, you're the guy who actually shoots. Because they're looking for you out there. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think now it's time to get into our top 5.
That's right. Top 5. I was thinking about this one, about who to put 4 and 5. I have Sasha Boisvert at 5, just because I haven't seen as much of him as Oliver Moore. We'll get to later. But Boisvert is the guy I was thinking of earlier. Yeah, I remember there's a lot of, I believe it was Ellis who said, really noticed Boisvert for Canada. Really solid tournament there, along with Van Acker, who we spoke about earlier. Had a really good season last year at North Dakota, freshman season, put up numbers there pretty comparable to another Jonathan Toews Blackhawks legend there. Yeah,
another number 9 for North Dakota.
That's right. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, had a really solid season there, and obviously transferring to BU this year, which is, there's a few programs in hockey that are better than BU. North Dakota is unfortunately not quite as strong these days, but BU's on top of their game, so that'll be a good place for him to develop, and maybe we'll see him the end of this year. Definitely next year. Hopefully that would be nice. But no, really impressive. Boisvert, great two-way player. Could be could even be a Selke type of guy. I don't know. Maybe that's a little out there, but I think he's definitely that type of a player who's very, I think, equally good on both ends of the ice and kind of do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, so my number 5, we actually have the same one again.
There we go. Now we're starting to really.
Twice in a row. How about that? So I also have Sasha Boisvert as my number 5 on my list. I just think watching the last couple of months of his game, he really transcended himself into a clutch playoff performer type. He was scoring game-winning goals left and right. I feel like, especially against my Miami Redhawks, he scored a goal with 45 seconds left to win the game.
How'd you feel about that?
I was very conflicted on that point. Yeah, personally. But I just think that Boisvert shows a lot of grit to his game. He's going to be the guy in front of the net, the guy who can play bumper or flank on the power play, and he's just a goal scorer. Honestly,
he's got a great shot.
He's got a great shot as well.
Yeah, we have a few guys that have pretty good shots.
Yeah. So I think just Boisvert, especially now going to BU, I might even drop the fact that he might be a top 10 Hobie Baker candidate this year.
I was just going to say, because that team is loaded, man. He's got so much talent around him there, and he's going to be in his second year, really confident.
He's going to be at least a top 6 center in that, if not the number 1 center.
The fact that he produced as much as he did in North Dakota with pretty much nothing around him was just speaks volumes.
Especially, in the first part of the season where he was in the bottom 6.
Exactly.
But then when you put him in the top 6, good things happen. He was scoring goals left and right, especially because, what was it? The NCHC tournament he played against Western Michigan. He had 2 goals in that game. He was named all tournament, and he was the unanimous NCHC Rookie of the Year.
Clutch in the playoffs. I see more comps there, the JT.
Yeah.
I like it.
There we go. Exactly.
Very nice.
And also speaks French. Just like Jonathan Toews.
Perfect. Won't be able to wear 19, but number 9's waiting for him.
Oh, no.
Love it. What's that?
Number 9's not waiting for him.
Is that right?
Bobby Hull.
Right. How can I forget Bobby Hull? I wonder what number he's going to wear at the NHL then. Yeah. Maybe 29, maybe?
I'm thinking 90. I think 90.
Yeah.
I think 90.
Put a
would,
0 there.
Yeah.
I wore 90 when I played back in the day.
Yeah.
Not in the NHL, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looked pretty good on you.
Yeah,
I
when I
would
played
presume.
Wilmette Braves, Wilmette Alex Vlasic reference.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. I
we
like
go.
it. Number 4 for me, I had Oliver Moore. Really, I don't think this guy got talked about enough towards the end of the year. Everybody was talking about Sam Renzel, and for good reason. He was fantastic. But what about Oliver Moore, the second Minnesota Blackhawk to make his debut last season? I thought he was super impressive. 4 assists in 9 games, I believe. Just his speed, man, just absolutely ridiculous. He's going to be amongst, maybe even, he might be the fastest player in the NHL in one day. He has that potential there.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's almost too fast for his own good, though. So that's something. Maybe he slowed the game down occasionally, but if you know what I mean, mentally, got to keep up with yourself. Sometimes after this year, that could be an issue, but no, worth more. Just I love the skill. I think could play center or wing. I do like the idea of pairing him in the wing with Betsy. I think that'd be a nice little connection. I'd like to see them revisit that a bit more. Some question marks about where he's going to be. I see no reason why he shouldn't be on the Hawks all year. Maybe starts the year Rockford if he needs to, kind of like how Nazar did last season. And that's not a bad thing if he has to do that. Build his confidence up a little bit and then come over and dominate. Yeah,
just for pro-life. I mean, pro-life, that's kind of hard. So
exactly. So I think he's going to be in the Hawks pretty much all year. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So my number 4, my guy, the Roman Candle from Magnitogorsk. I've got Roman Kanserov at number 4.
Wow.
So I don't know if I can put this on the record or not, but I was able to watch some of the KHL games. Not sponsored. Internet, please don't find out how I found out. But I think Roman Kanserov, I mean, it's not even bias at this point. I just think he's such a good player. You were talking about undersized earlier. He's only sitting at 5'9", but he is built.
Yes.
Yeah.
Russian tank.
Yeah, he's an
Russian machine don't break.
I think he's built like a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, just the way he's able to move the puck, the way he's able to find zones in the offensive game, the way his skating ability is not talked about enough.
His edge work is really impressive.
Yeah, very impressive edge work. And I think that, especially because he put up a better points per game last year than Ivan Demidov in the KHL.
Nobody talks about that.
No, absolutely no one talks about that. And I think his last year here in Magnitogorsk, I believe he will sign at some point in between April and June to come over here, whether it's for the last couple of games or whether it's, June 1st. But I think Kanserov will be an X factor on this team.
I like it. He'll sign at the end of the year just in time for the playoff run.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. If we'll have a Montreal Canadiens type season, that would be nice for us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Man, could dream. Yeah, no, we'll be first place in McKenna, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we get into the top 3 here.
Yeah, this for me, like the top 3 was very clear. I think the order you could debate, but the 3 players in the top 3 were like the easiest part of the list. This one might be a bit controversial. I think some people probably have him 1. I have Sam Renzel at 3. Let me explain myself. I think right now he's the best player in this pool right now, but I'm not necessarily making this list based off of right now. I'm projecting. No, Sam Renzel, though, he was so freaking impressive at the end of the season. Generally, he looked dominant out there.
Yeah.
He was so close to that first career goal. Had shades of it. Knocked on the door there a few times. I have 5 assists.
Very puck unlucky.
Yes, I believe he led defenseman in ice time too in those 9 games.
He led all of
even
Blackhawks.
more than Alex, anybody. Yeah, more than Vlasic, more than anybody. So he just looks so comfortable. He kind of floats around out there, great on both ends. I could totally see him having this year. I think he's going to be a dark horse for the Calder for sure.
Yeah,
I could totally see him. Frank Serve always said it. I could totally see him having a Brock Faber type season for sure. Another Minnesota defenseman there, both ways. But no, really impressed with the other half of the Minnesota Weasley brothers. I like to call them. The red hair. Yeah, I call from now on Oliver Moore and Sam Renzel the Weasley brothers.
Okay, all right. I had the Minnesota Miracle Men as
Okay.
mine. So please drop a comment down below. Which one do you think is better, or do you have one for Oliver Moore and Sam Renzel?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
For
Let's hear
sure.
it in the comments down below.
Absolutely.
All right, so for my number 3, I'm gonna have Anton Frondel.
Oh, wow.
So Anton Frondel is my number 3 right now. I just think, I think ceiling wise, he could be the best player. I think you alluded to it earlier, that everyone in that top 3 could be interchangeable. Yeah. But I think right now Frondel is my number 3. I can't wait to see him, play in the SHL this year compared to the Hockey Allsvenskan, where he was the best rookie in the Allsvenskan. He had, like the most amount of points for a U18 player, which is very impressive in and of itself. And I think it's so cool that he was able to help his hometown team gain promotion to the SHL. Like, we don't talk about that much in America because there's not really a promotion or a relegation system. But I think that being from Sweden, doing it for your hometown team, and now you actually get to play in the SHL for a year and develop. I think if he can improve upon his deficiencies in his game, not saying that there are a lot, but if he can improve upon it before going into the NHL, I think this kid can be an absolute stud. Especially you put him on the left flank of the power play one with his bomb of a shot. His shot doesn't get talked about enough either. I mean, you talk about Boisvert not getting talked about.
He's right. His shot really gives Bedard a run for his money.
Exactly.
Yeah, you think about that opposite flanks in the power play. Ooh,
it's gonna be super impressive, and
Yes,
I can't wait to see him at the World Juniors this year too. He's probably gonna be Sweden's #1 center.
Oh yeah,
at the World Juniors.
I think I see all that Canada roster looks pretty damn good. That's a hell of a lot to stop Anton Frundell.
Yeah,
so,
right.
No, looking forward to the World Juniors this year in America, babies. We go for the three-peat. Number 2, I have Artie Party.
All right.
Artie Party, man. Again, a lot of Rinzel, I feel like, has gotten his due from how he looked in the NHL last year. But what about Levshinov? Like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like Levshinov hasn't been... I feel like his stint with the Hawks at the end of the year didn't get talked about nearly enough. Like, 6 assists in 18 games, and he really didn't look out of place. Yeah, he had his moments. Don't get me wrong. He's going to have his moments. Obviously, 2 years younger as well. And he's still so raw, obviously, coming right from Belarus to this North American system. It's going to take time, right? But no, I was really impressed with the way he looked. I thought, honestly, I've watched quite a few Ice Hogs games, and I was arguably more impressed with how he looked at the NHL level last year.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought he looked better, to be honest. So I'd say for that reason, similar to Oliver Moore, I think he's going to play the full year at the Hawks. Maybe he starts I don't think he needs any more time around.
No,
he looked like an NHL defenseman, and I think similar to Rinzel, I think he's going to be in the color conversation. I think Rinzel is going to have a better year this year. He's got a few more years of experience under his belt, and he did look more comfortable, I will say. I think his game's probably going to translate a little more right away because he's had that time to develop, like you said. A pick, by the way, that many people at the time were like, what? And no, he's looked pretty damn good. So,
yeah.
And Levshinov as well, he might not be the guy necessarily wanted it to, but no, I think just from what I've seen so far, I think we're going to feel pretty good about that.
Number 2, I have Artem Levshinov as well. I think Artem Levshinov, you just saw the way that his game was able to develop from, being some guy from Belarus, a couple of years ago to being, good in the USHL, to being nearly a point per game player in the NCAA as a freshman. I mean, that is unheard of, especially as a defenseman. And then you look at last year, what he was able to do with the Hawks. I think that there's still a lot to grow for in his game, but I see all the skills for him to become a #1 defenseman at some point.
I like that.
Yeah, just so interesting. You alluded to Rockford last year. The first game of the playoffs last year, he scored the game-winning goal.
That's right. That was
in overtime.
Oh, that was elite.
That
you
was
love
awesome.
to see that. You love to see that.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see him score some goals in the NHL this year. I would personally put him in the defensive core this year to start off the season.
Yeah, no, I don't think he needs any more time in Rockford. No, absolutely. Yeah, he, just like Rinzel, came so close to scoring that first career goal. It just didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, my number 1 is Anton Frundell. And for me, it's pretty clear. He, again, similar to Levshinov, may not have been the guy necessarily, like the #1 guy that I wanted, but I will say the more and more tape I watch of this guy, I totally see the vision. I mean, if that's your Sasha Barkov, then my goodness, but that's like the absolute prototype of what GMs are looking for in today's game. He can do it absolutely everything. Great offensive instincts, best numbers in the Swedish league as a D1 player, since players such as David Pastrnak and William Nylander, outstanding totals there. No, really impressed with his game and his tape and what he could be in the NHL. Great on both ends. And want to talk about Selke guy, that can absolutely be a Selke guy. Unfortunately, won't see him this year. Maybe towards the end when we could see him, but we'll be spending another year in Sweden. Good for his development. We'll see. I personally would at least like to see him at training camp, but it sounds like that won't even be happening. So that is unfortunate. We'll have to wait a little while to see him truly on ice in a Hawks uni. But you know what? I think patience with number 3 overall picks is important, as we've seen.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
No, looking forward to Frundell in the NHL and just what he could be at
Patience is a
Bedsy.
virtue.
Yes, absolutely. And I think just the thought of him, Bedsy, Nazar, if that's your trio up front, my goodness.
That's gonna be dangerous.
Yes, that's gonna be a problem.
So my #1 guy, I haven't talked about him enough. Sam Rinzel.
Wow.
Sam Rinzel is my number one Hawks prospect at this point. I just thought he was so impressive in the NHL. I thought he was so impressive at Minnesota as well. He won Big Ten Defenseman of the Year last year, which I thought was, unreal just because of how stacked the competition is in the Big Ten. And with Sam Rinzel coming over with Oliver Moore for the last 9 games, I saw a complete defenseman right there. I thought he was unbelievable with his skating. I think the defensive IQ was there. I mean, you saw that play in the last game of the year against Ottawa, where it was on the goal line and he was able to take that out. And then you look at later that game in overtime, and he was able to, stick check and take the puck off at Timmy Stützle, who Stützle is an elite forward in this game. And then, he brings the puck up the ice, passes it to Bedard to Nazar. OT winner, sends the fans home happy because,
that was the perfect ending of the season.
It was.
We needed
truly
that.
was.
We needed that. We've been glazing that all summer.
Yeah. We need more of that, please.
Yes, sir. That's. I think we're going to see quite a bit more.
So
of that.
I think for me, Sam Rinzel, I want to pull up another quote from Frank Saravalli. He doesn't think that he'll have any time in Rockford.
No.
And I don't think he should. I think he should be stapled to one of Vlasic or Kaiser if Kaiser gets a contract. We don't know what's going on with that right now. I think he was so impressive with Kaiser last year, but you put him with Alex Vlasic, I think those two could be a real dangerous, top pair. Not saying right now, obviously, but in the future, I think those two could be very good together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like, man, they're just embarrassment of riches in that back end, man.
Yeah.
Korchinski, I don't consider Korchinski a prospect anymore, by the way, guys. But yeah, the fact that that's probably your 4th best in your core after Vlasic, Artie Party, and Rinzel, man, they're loaded there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, it's going to be very exciting.
Absolutely. And that's it. That's our list. So, yes, thank you for joining us here. Show is going to be starting up pretty damn soon here. So make sure you're checking us out. Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube. Check us out on the social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, the whole 9 yards there.
And click like on this video, subscribe on this video, and leave a comment on if we messed up our lists or not.
Absolutely. Share it around. Send it around to the friends. Yeah.
It's all up to interpretation. If you want to comment your list, I'd love to hear your list. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We had similar players, but a little bit of differences in order. But that's the thing. There's so many large quantity of players. So there's easily more guys that you could definitely include in your list. My honorable mentions list is I want to say it's 10 players or something. Yeah. We could have made this a top 20, top 25, but I think top 15 I think was a pretty good spot to settle on.
So thanks Justin. This was awesome. So,
absolutely.
We'll check you out at live shows soon.
Absolutely.